Chart! Bubbles.
Hey guys, so I just read the chapter Callback by Lukas Kristjanson, and I felt a lot of feelings reading this story. I almost got teary-eyed at one point, and I just really needed to talk about it to someone and just talk about it out loud because I was very emotional and I just love this story so much. So Callback features the Sutherland Company crew, and they are a crew that is part of the Inquisition, and Sutherland, who is the leader of this crew, comes to Skyhold, and as the Inquisitor you meet him. He's very eager to help and at least try and help and do his best within the Inquisition. He really wants to just be part of helping, and as the Inquisitor you can give him something to do, which leads to like wall table missions and a little side quest in the Storm Coast. And as the Inquisitor's story goes on, so does Sutherland's company grow, and his company has their own kind of missions, and it's all just very wholesome and like a cute little part of Inquisition. So what's really cool about this story is that it is post-Trespasser, I think. Yes, because the Inquisition has been disbanded. So it's just really cool to get knowledge of what's currently going on in the world of Thedas that we haven't been able to play in game. So the Inquisition has been disbanded, and Sutherland and his crew, which is currently Voth the Mage, Shade, who is a bard, and then we have Rat, who is the cute little squire, and they're like the main crew, and they are sent to Skyhold. Some nobles received a letter from the caretaker, so we know that Skyhold is currently empty, which made me kind of emotional because just like knowing that, because I always thought once the Inquisition was disbanded, of course they have to leave Skyhold, but I was like, maybe like they would stay there, or maybe like my Inquisitor would stay there. They can't, because it's too much of a, they agreed to disband as well. It's too much of a threat. So Skyhold is currently being looked after by a caretaker and several other staff, just keeping the place clean, I guess, just keeping it, looking after it, because not only is it a very historic place, but also it held one of Thedas' biggest armies, so it deserves to be looked after, as well as they don't really want any other armies to move into the fortress, because it is such a well-built fortress that if anyone moves into there, they will be a threat. So the update note that the nobles had received from the caretaker said that there was a mistake, and that the caretaker was currently restoring the fresco. As soon as I read that, I was like, well. I was like so excited, because I was like, you mean what Solus painted? So that is not part of his work as a caretaker. So these nobles were like, well, that's kind of weird. He's sounding a bit weird. We should go investigate to see if any demons are lurking in Skyhold. The nobles also want to kind of like take down this place. So they seek out Sutherland's company to go and check out whatever's lurking there, because Sutherland's company is kind of like a small company. They're not very well known. If they get killed or anything in there, I guess no one will really care, which is really sad. But like they're a small enough company and not very well known, so if they go missing and if anything happens, the nobles can just kind of throw it under the rug, and yeah, only the Inquisitor will care. But Sutherland also has a very personal connection to Skyhold, so that's why he wants to go check it out, and he feels like he owes the Inquisitor to check out Skyhold, because this was their home. It was his home. It was such a good, positive place and a place of like inspiration for many people who stayed there, especially for Sutherland. Like it was a place where his life changed, so he feels very like a personal reason to go check this out. So as Sutherland and his crew, minus Rat, who has held back on Sutherland's orders because he said he has a plan, enter Skyhold. It is very quiet. It is very eerie. It is just so not like what they're used to, which is people around, runners running through the grounds, merchant stores being busy, just being like a lively place, which is what we as players know it to be as well. It's so sad, like thinking of it just being so empty and no one being there. Like in my writings that I do of my Inquisitors, I always picture her going back there just because it is such a special place. But knowing that it's so empty is just sad. Like I even felt sad reading it. But they enter Skyhold and Voth can feel that there's a presence of a demon here. They don't know what kind of demon it is, but they are trying to prepare themselves their best to deal with what kind of demon this is. So they're trying to control their emotions because demons feed on emotions. So as Sutherland and their crew are exploring Skyhold, they go up towards a tavern, which is of course where Sutherland and his crew stayed. And Sutherland kind of gets very he has very happy memories of this place, even if it looks very sad and there is a demon currently there. Just being in Skyhold again makes him feel lively and just brings back all the happy memories and growth that he has personally had. And he also always thinks back to the Inquisitor because they are the one who gave him this chance, who changed his life. And there's like a little part that I'll read that like made me almost cry. It says, Sutherland stared up at the Herald's Rest now, wearing armor that cost more than the farm that he'd rescued. The Inquisitor had taken a chance on him, on Shade, Voth and Rat, and they had honored every coin plus interest. But he'd always felt like it wasn't enough. Every good in his life, his friends, the keep he owned, the people who called him Sir, he owed all of it to one place, one person, and one change in direction. Like, that just made me feel, I don't know, it just made me feel for him. This, like, story, I kind of connected to a few of the characters and what they felt throughout this story. But, like, it's so weird, like, reading about your protagonist influencing another character so much. You kind of don't really think of that playing throughout the game, how much, like, it's just very sweet to hear another character talk about like an NPC talk about your character so highly. It's just so sweet. So they head towards the Rotunda where they believe the demon is because the fresco was mentioned in the note that was sent from the caretaker. So that's where Voth thinks the demon is staying. It's just so weird. Like it's like a bittersweet feeling hearing through another character of what Skyhold feels at the moment, of what Skyhold meant to Sutherland and all these other people, is also kind of what it meant to me as a player, which is kind of weird. So they make it to the Rotunda where Voth puts up a few wards in place, and they see the paintings that Solus has painted, which are obviously different stages of the Inquisitor's journey, kind of as well as Solus's journey, because Solus really had a lot of involvement of the path that the Inquisitor took, much more than we thought he did. So it's so interesting reading this. So the room still looks the same. They've got the little chair in the middle. The caretaker's body is on the chair, dead, lifeless, just sitting there. And above them in the little cages on the 3rd level, where Liliana was. So I place it's like Liliana, Dorian, Solus. Are like parts of body parts in the cage, and there's like blood dripping down, so they know this is probably where the demon is. Suddenly, this is just so cool. I love that this story is part of the fresco that Solus painted, because I always wanted to know why, not only why did he paint it, but I wanted something to happen to do with these paintings, and I just wanted more story with them. So as they walk in the room, they see the caretaker, they're looking around at the surroundings, something's obviously very wrong here. The fresco paintings start come to life, which is so cool. So the ink from each of the paintings kind of morph and move across each painting. So just say like the Inquisitor painting with the big sword, like the grey ink gets sucked out of that and then moves on, and then like the wolves, the black color ink gets sucked out of that, the ink moves on to the next one, and then it finally gets to the last painting that has been unfinished, which everyone always questions after Dragon Age Inquisition, like what is this painting of and why was it unfinished? And I'm so glad that like this was mentioned here, because like I'm glad we kind of got an answer to that. So the ink travels to the last painting and kind of fills in the color, because it was colorless. And Sevelin, Voth, and Shade are watching this, and there had been questions in the Inquisition of what the painting was of, what Solus painted, and they reveal it to be a wolf-like creature and a sword kind of stabbing the dragon's neck, except the wolf-like creature is actually a wolf and kind of like a dragon as well. The painting that Solus drew, like even I wasn't sure. I was like, it has to, like I thought it has to be the Dreadwolf, because like it looked like a wolf staring down sadly at something. I'm not sure if it was to do with like Mythal or something like that, but it isn't just a wolf, it's like a wolf and then with kind of dragon parts. So is this a representation of the creature that Solus, the Dreadwolf, is known to be? It's not just a wolf. Was he always like a dragon wolf? Does he have a dragon soul as well? Questions. So already that, like, I have so many questions about that. But the painting suddenly steps out and becomes like an actual form. So Sutherland and Voth and Shade, they see this dragon wolf creature with many eyes, which Shade said she wants to stab one of them. So it already reminds me of the Dreadwolf. But is this the creature that Solus turns into, or is it the demon mimicking this creature that Solus is connected to? But anyway, so Sutherland is I love Sutherland in this story. Like, he's very brave. He's so brave, and he's so protective of like his friends. He just wants to be the hero, I guess. And as they go to get ready to attack, the demon kind of reaches out and stops them, and then they just freeze, and suddenly like Voth is in like a forest. He's in one of his past memories, and there's like a bear in ropes crushing a person behind him, but he's just continuing on. And then with Shade, she's like running through the streets, and they're obviously dealing with something traumatizing. That is something that they'd rather forget. So they're just frozen next to him, and Sutherland demands this demon to say what kind of demon he is. The demon's kind of curious because he's wondering why isn't he able to influence Sutherland, and Sutherland's kind of cocky about this. I don't know if that's the right word, but he knows that he's unable to be swayed by the demon at the moment. The demon comes forth and says his name. He is Regret. So he is the regret of this place. He is the regret of the current memories that were preserved in these paintings, like the emotion put into these murals that Solus painted. And he, obviously there's a lot of regrets in what Solus painted, so it's obvious why a demon would be made from these. So after that, the demon grabs Sutherland's head and tries to sway him, like tries to get him to have regret or like break. In that moment, we hear like above them, Rat releases like a bees or something. She drops them onto the creature, and she's also joined by Dagna, which I was like, oh my god. I'm so happy to see her. She's so adorable. And so they're working together. They're helping, throwing whatever they can, bookcases onto the demon. Voth and Shade wake up, and Voth says we got to lead the creature outside of the main hall because in the rotunda is where he is strongest. The demon follows Rat. Rat runs off to the garden where she is taken back to the deep roads, and she's scared and she's hiding, and the demon's creeping up to her. But then suddenly Harriet, who is the blacksmith, saves her as she falls off the balcony, which is another surprise because I'm like, yay! Like all these lovely people who we know to be the home, the family of Skyhold, are here. Another thing that the demon says when they were in the rotunda that I forgot to mention is he says something like, do you know the dread that is coming? And I was like, oh no. Like I was like, oh my god, like I'm so I don't know if I'm excited like to see the destruction of what Solus is going to do. Like, why would I be excited by that? But like I'm so nervous because like he's one of my favorite characters, but it's not like I don't know, it's like a sad like I'm a bit sad to see what Solus may turn into or become in Dragon Age 4, but also I'm looking forward to it. Because Solus has always been, the Dread Wolf has always been hyped up as something you know, so scary and threatening and like a warning, and he's supposedly so powerful and like a trickster, and the Solus that we know, I mean the Solus that my Inquisitor knows, like you can see some parts of that, but then if you're a friendly Inquisitor as well, like you see the other part, the regret part of Solus, which is such a big part of his character and what he's experiencing. So it's going to be so interesting to see what choices we have, or Solus has, and what choices he picks in the next game. Hopefully good ones. Hopefully I can redeem him. So as the other crew are trying to lure the demon outside, they run into Sir Morris, who is the quartermaster, who has a cart. So he is also there, that Rat's team picked up on the way to Skyhold. They found some of the other members who used to live in Skyhold, who weren't like, I guess, well known in Skyhold, but known to the people who actually worked within Skyhold. So they run into Sir Morris, who is happy to help them. He says he can't do much, but he has whatever is in his cart. The demon is currently in the tavern, and the demon runs into Cabot and Elaine, who fight off the demon. Cabot is obviously the bartender, and Elaine, who works in apothecary, and they are now together, which is really cute. So now we have like a group of Skyhold staff members who I never thought that I'd hear from again, all working together. Rat is still running from the demon as fast as she can. So now the demon is after them. They feel kind of helpless. They fought the demon off as best they can, and they're just arguing amongst each other on what to do. And Sutherland is just standing there, seeing his home being torn apart and the place that meant so much to him. And also like this reading it means like I can feel through Sutherland, because like this was like a home for me or for my character. So it's like you're him. But there's also like a little chapter here that I want to read about the Inquisitor again, and how the Inquisitor's acts of kindness and leadership also inspired Sutherland, and how it inspires him to be able to defeat this demon. So Rat catches up to them and is trying her best not to feel any regret. All of them are trying their best not to feel any regret on their past, because that's what the demon feasts on. Sutherland is really the only one that hasn't let through his regret. So Voth tells him that Sutherland is different because you chose Skyhold. It attacked the one thing you never doubted. And Shade says, we followed you here. It's not the same, which is why like the demon can attack them, but he's different. And it says here, he looked around at the fortress where his life had changed so thoroughly, but it wasn't Skyhold that had changed him. He'd have been in the kitchens if it hadn't been for one person. The Inquisitor had taken a chance on his potential, but more than that, the Inquisitor had stood for him, for them all, made them feel like they were worth it and could help, made them look forward. So, and he kind of realizes that he is not what he has done is not the same as what the Inquisitor has done, or at least he doesn't feel like it. So he has a plan to deal with the demon himself, because it's all kind of connected to him. He is really the only one with the power to defeat this demon. And he is the one who brought all his friends here. They are now in trouble because of him. So it's all kind of up to him. All this regret is like piling on him. So he plans to take on the demon himself. He tells Shade to go and stay near the horses, or where the horses used to be. Cabot and Elaine up further near like the tavern, and Sir Morris and Harriet, Dagna and Rat, they're all just waiting by, ready to aid Sutherland as the creature approaches him and goes to attack him. So Sutherland lets his regret through finally, which attracts the demon. It's something the demon hasn't tasted before. Sounds weird, because like he's obviously gone after everyone else here and knows their regrets, but Sutherland brings forth a regret and sees his friends around him hurting, and he feels responsible for bringing them here. So he yells out, I regret, and lets his feelings forth, and the demon goes after him. And as the demon goes to jump at him, he has his sword ready, and he just like slashes the demon in the jaw right through the body, and is kind of enveloped in the demon. And then he kind of thinks to himself, like he brought his friends here along with him, but he wasn't going to leave them. He was going to fight for them, because that is his like family, and obviously a lot of wholesome feelings there. So, and he kind of thinks of the Inquisitor again, and what the Inquisitor inspired in him and in other people. So he has no regret of ever coming here, because or bringing his friends here, because he knew he would be there to stand up for his friends, and for his friends to stand up for him as well. So that kind of kills the demon-ish. It's just like in half, in pieces on the floor. It's still alive though, and the other companions attack it one by one, trying to kill it. And the demon says something to Sutherland like, I thought I've tasted you before, thinking of Sutherland's past, that he was once working on a farm with his father, and he had left his family to join the Inquisition to help his family and to help Thetis. But he says, Sutherland replies, that is not my regret you're feeling, that is yours. The regret that maybe Solus is feeling, that Solus has put into these paintings, or that maybe the Inquisitor has felt. There is a lot of regret in these paintings, that the demon can feed on. As much as there is positive, there is always, at least for Solus's, if it's Solus's thought process, he regrets, I imagine, using the Inquisition to his benefit to bring forth his plans, which are ultimately against the Inquisition, I guess. So as the demon is dying, a little cloud forms and a little spirit is above them, looking at the other demon. It's like a spirit of contemplation or something, and the demon spirit goes back to the Fade. And that is the end of the story. So Sutherland and his crew are okay. There's like a little bit at the end from Divine Victoria, and it says, by order of the Most Holy, her Divine Victoria, and who have served are to be commended, and though the herald guides you no more, and legion and name are retired, know that you have served good and true. Change comes both to and because of the Inquisition, and we are blessed with the ability to accept and move on, to leave dread and regrets behind. Note that Skyhold remains, its fires bright. Forevermore, it is where you are from, but not where you are bound. Attempt no travel here. Let the guide pass you to a new direction, and be well. That is just so sweet and sad. Yeah, what a lot of feelings. Oh my god, I've talked for an hour. Yeah, I love this chapter. I love that it is something that readers who have played Inquisition can really feel something for and feel involved in. Like, I even felt for the character Sutherland and Shade and Voth, like their regret, and especially for Sutherland, because, you know, his feelings for Skyhold can almost mimic the player's feelings for Skyhold, because not only as playing through the Inquisitor, if you're someone who plays Dragon Age Inquisition as like an escape or something just to uplift you, Skyhold for players is like a place of motivation, inspiration, and happiness and family. So you can feel through Sutherland's feelings, just what an important place this is. And yeah, I think I'm going to go, because I have talked for an hour, and not surprising, I'm like, I'll just like keep this like a 15-minute video. I'll just like go over very important points and talk about what I want to talk about. But no, again, I've talked for so long, but that's okay, because it's so good to talk about this. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. And I hope everyone is staying safe and taking care of themselves and looking after one another. So thank you for watching.